Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on the best practices to optimize your service delivery and customer value with field service management software. My name is Andrew Brethauer, and I'll be moderating this webinar today. We are here to talk about the challenges in today's increasingly complex service landscape. We're at a very exciting time of change and innovation in the field service space, but this can be a bit overwhelming for companies when they are sorting through their initiatives. So I'm first going to start with a little bit about Fieldpoint. We're a leading provider of end-to-end field service management, and we're unique because we manage the full spectrum of service lifestyle management, including customer and mobile workforce management and asset warranty management with integrations to your favorite CRM, ERP, and accounting systems. We have been experts in the field service management for over 16 years, and we are involved in a variety of industries such as HVAC and refrigeration, industrial equipment, fire and life safety, IT services and telecom, medical devices, and many more. We have hundreds of customers spanning across North America, and we help with our customers with positive business outcomes, and therefore we have one of the highest customer retention rates in the industry. Speaking today is Mike Mance, our VP Product Development. Mike has been in the business for 25 years and has been involved in product innovation and development, supporting services, and has developed key messaging for customers and partner marketing initiatives. If you do have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to ask them in the chat box, and at the end we'll answer as many questions as we can. Mike?
Thanks, Andrew. Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Mance here. Challenges. Today we want to break down the challenges in service into four main areas: people, processes, deliverables, and data. Well, when we talk about people here, we want to talk about the service level demand of each of them: the customer's demands, technicians' demands, and subcontractors' demands. Processes. When we say processes, we're talking about the challenges that exist in the various departments, like the people that do quoting and work orders, projects, installation jobs, contracts. Deliverables, meaning the day-to-day challenges that each department within the service organization must execute on. Field service management, project job costing.
I didn't send it. That's what they sent. Let me forward this to you. Yeah, I clicked. No. Oh, then the website. I just had to type it back in again. Yeah.
So if anybody's got some feedback on the phone, if you could please mute your phone from there. Okay. Processes. We were talking about that. Deliverables, field service management, execution of those things, and then lastly, the data. So not only do we need to consume and study our own, but we need to accommodate data from outside sources. So those are the four main areas. Let's dive in a little deeper on people. Customers, technicians, contractors, they all make choices. The easier we can assign and align those choices, the more successful we're going to be. Let's see what we mean when we say retention, faster processing, and streamlined relationships. We found you have to be able to open a call from the phone, emails, customer self-service. And over here, what we've done lately is we've changed the way it looks, the listing. We call them now grids of all our customers. So it's even easier now to create a customer portal, incorporate escalations and workflows to this. So now you can build your portals for customers be able to filter in all these columns, and they can even do them themselves if they so desire. But there'll also be a capability to take that, chart that data as well. You'll be seeing that as we move along. So what we're seeing here is also, as customers start building their own call management systems, what you'll be seeing is the requirement for their call system to talk to your call system. And we've been starting to do this kind of thing, and we do this with the new tool called Fieldpoint Data Transfer Services, and we'll be talking more about that. Okay, so that's how the new custom grids look like in the system. Text. As you can see here, what we said about customers and having accessibility to the data, we can say it's true for text. You know, it's a constant kind of challenge for us to get information from the text and getting text to provide information to us. So what we've done here at Fieldpoint is obviously they have access to the grids, the new grid approach to this, which is highly flexible in the way it kind of filters, as well as now we have available the Fieldpoint Mobile, which allows us to communicate back and forth to our work orders and projects, either online or through a disconnected process. And then finally, we have subcontractors. What we're seeing more and more is that if you really, want to have your customers, your subcontractors be an extension of your organization, then you really need to treat them the same way as techs. So now we're building the concepts of subcontractor portals. So again, highly customizable, being able to incorporate escalations and workflows within those parameters. So in essence, we have the customers accessing our systems, technicians accessing our systems, as well as subcontractors. And each can have their own individual look and feel to the call process. And that's it about people. Processes. Typically, service organizations need to master these four, what I call documents, like quoting, work orders, jobs, and contracts. They each have their individual process that will eventually come together as they interact. Let's look at quoting. There's lots of great quoting systems out there, and we've integrated to many ourselves. But we found that you guys need the option also for a built-in capability. Let's take working on a quote in this example, in this new Fieldpoint screen. That works both with customers and subcontractors. As you're seeing here on the left side of the screen, is that the quotation is for a particular customer with its various line items. But there's also on the right-hand screen of the screen, you'll see a reference to a subcontractor. Even to the extent where we can type in the vendor cost, you'll see in this window here, apply what we call a cost schedule, come up with our unit cost, then apply, as you see on the left here, a price schedule to add a multiplier to that. So we can really now coordinate quotes to customers and quotes that we need to get from our subcontractors. So the other challenge is when it's not kind of integrated into the ecosystem of Fieldpoint is the idea of converting a quote to a work order, and then also vice versa, a work order to a quote. Meaning that for the technician that's on site, they may need additional quotation to the customer to finish the work, or they need additional parts. So you need to be able to have an open work order and create a quote from it, and vice versa, so that the data can be moved back and forth seamlessly. So this reduces the amount of integration required to other systems, and also incorporates your processes as they are in the normal process. So that's kind of the newer quoting system that we're putting in place. So we talk about quotes, let's talk about work orders. This is the new work order screen. As you see, it's for those that are on alert software. The user interface has changed quite a bit. Very, same functionality, but a different look and feel. You have the ability to kind of navigate vertically with the tabs down versus opening up separate windows. It's more of a panel-based system. And as we know, like, this is the center of the universe for most of our customers, right? We need to manage time, parts, closing information, workflows, notifications, and so on. So you need a work order system to handle this. So it's still maintaining all the data that you've seen. There's some new things like invoice preview that allows you to take the work order components like parts, resources, and expenses, and add taxes, and kind of make it look like an invoice before it actually is an invoice. The other area here is we have demand. We have a completely new module for resource planning. So if you do want to plan a crew in the future, assign them to a particular work order without having to schedule them, this is a great tool. That's work orders. Installation projects. Well, we know that when we have a work order, if we're talking about projects, we're taking it to another level. Work orders are short duration, project typically a long duration. Complexity of inventory, equipment acquisition for the project, delivery, and getting paid are certainly a challenge. Again, having all the components in place for tracking budgets to actuals is paramount. By the way, you can combine a work order with a project. Some of you probably already know this when you're doing large rollouts. So for each location, a work order can be opened up to have their own install schedule and delivery schedule or installation schedule, still referencing the project. So again, using the new kind of look and feel, like you saw in work orders with projects. The big thing with projects is you'll see there's a resource planning tool so that you can assign resources to the projects in the future, again, without having to create appointments or timesheet details. Kind of exciting. Okay. That's for projects. So our next major document is contracts. And again, the contract screen, obviously in the same same architecture. So if you aren't using our contract system, you know, and for those that aren't using it, you know, that are selling a lot of these agreements with service pricing, multiple PM schedules, and have to do compliance reporting. There's a new series of what we call checklists that you can add to the PM schedule so that you can go in and procedurally make sure everything that you need to record on a PM is recorded right down to the nth degree so you can produce a report from it. That's probably the big component with contracts and PMs to help you gather all that information. Those are the 4 documents that we keep on discussing. Then let's look at how we deliver those processes. Field service management, job costing, PM schedules, customer billing. Let's look at field service management. Now that you have that work order, you've confirmed service level of commitments, confirmed the asset configurations, you need to get that tech out there. So it might be easy with a few techs, but as the numbers grow, as you guys well know, you need good resource scheduling tools, skills databases to figure out who and when they are available. So in Fieldpoint, there is a new resource scheduler. It's completely web-based, so it runs on any device. It is similar in architecture in the sense that it has like the Outlook calendar capability that you guys are used to. But in the section below here, we've got the new grid concept. So you can very easily customize columns, add, remove columns, put in things like this week, next week, by priority, and the user can save these views very quickly without going through any kind of customization. So we've kind of incorporated that new grid effect within the resource calendar. Still have the great drag and drop capabilities, access to a skills database to select the resources that you're looking for. But it's a nice industrial strength look and feel, runs on any device. That's great. And of course, you'll see on the right-hand side, this grid concept below that we've been talking about. But over and above that, this is now giving you additional capabilities to use graphics, and there's some very sophisticated filtering techniques that you can do on the fly so that you can get, you know, a handle on all these balls that are in the air. So you need the reporting tools. This is an example on the right of a dashboard, new dashboard concept we have to keep a pulse on your priorities, commitments, see all the notifications, especially, as you know, in real life, repair times change, there are part issues, so for us to be able to flush out those changes quickly is paramount. Field service. Let's look at the project side. This is the new project resource planning tool. So the challenge with planning resources in the future is that the present seems to catch up with you very quickly, with changes into the original schedules is common. Doesn't take much for a part delay, a project path to take a little longer than expected. So you need a resource planning tool so you can assign the work, but actually also see the actual work that's there, see if there's any conflicts so that they can be resolved immediately. So what you'll see here is in the red, those are assignments, and your greens are, in this case, your actual appointments. So those are actual committed times. And this kind of yellowish type of appointment here those are completed appointments. So the timesheet concept is the same, but we've added a new level of assignment. So now I can look at resources that are assigned possibly to other tasks within a project, but not necessarily hard scheduled. So back to my challenge of, as you get closer to the real dates that have been planned, now you can then create your appointments at that time. So you can shift assignments before you actually make the appointments. As you can see with this Gantt chart view, it gives us a nice view of any conflict that might occur between technicians. So the lower part of the screen is the technician view. So on the left, you see all the technicians and their appointments. The screen above, or the section above, looks at it from a project or a customer view. So now we can say, okay, above, we have these projects, and these are our demands, and below are available or unavailable resources during the time period that we're looking at. So it's all about maximizing, obviously, resource utilization. So that's the resource planning side and challenges. Next, again, is back to reporting. Being able to use the new dashboard tool and our listing tool to, as you can see, and now within a listing, we call this pivot, you can have multiple levels. So I can have a project, bring up all the cost codes, and then start tracking all the various parameters, as you can see, like revenue, cost, WIP, known costs so far. Some of those values you have in your system today, but now it can be represented in a format, either through a listing like this or in a graphical basis, and having multiple panels within the same window. So you can look at multiple dimensions all at the same time, analyze where you need to make changes quickly, as well at an aggregate level when you look over time periods, see your trends with your project. So with the complexity of projects in general, having a strong reporting tool to give you active management seems to be what our customers have been looking for. Contracts. With contracts here, you sign that maintenance agreement with your client, now it's time to execute. Challenge is to make PM work orders, get created, scheduled, and completed. May require specific steps, or as we mentioned, checklists to create that output compliance report. That's why with Fieldpoint contracts, we're tracking the complete schedule details for each contract line and automatically creating those work orders with the right task list to get the job done. So in terms of what's going on here, if you haven't seen how the PM system works, you should take a look at it. It really generates those work orders nicely on time with the default technicians, if you so desire, and also with a nice sophisticated and customizable checklist where you can collect when you're on site for PM, you can swipe barcodes, take pictures, because of course this is all available on a technician's smartphone. So all the smartphone capabilities are now compatible with the checklist. So camera functions, barcoding functions, time functions, calendar functions. You can see all this on your mobile device, as well as quickly go through and check off the items, collect data on that checklist. It really allows us to do that compliance reporting quite well. That's contracts. And then our last deliverable is customer pricing, or customer billing rather. If your pricing and costing methods are very simple, then generating an accurate invoice isn't very time consuming. But if the pricing for parts and services are elaborate, then making sure customer pricing is accurate and consistently applied can be a challenge. To complicate things, you might be getting quotes from subcontractors where you have to apply markups and then apply customer level pricing. So this down a little bit more detail where you're seeing some of the new functions within the Fieldpoint interface. Like we're seeing here, the traditional price schedule that you may or may not be familiar with, that goes over and above unit pricing and cost that you would see at the item or at the customer level within the customer table for work categories, for those of you who know that. This takes things to another level. We call it the price schedule, where we can apply the price schedule right on the work order automatically. And we've created the flip side of this as well, so that when you identify a vendor or subcontractor that's going to do this particular job, you could apply that to the work order. As well as we mentioned earlier, it's also available at the quotation side. So on the quote, you can apply vendor cost or apply this cost schedule and automatically quote the customer. If you're on a work order, this can also be applied. If you don't want to use the quote, you can also apply it directly to the work order to come up with the right price for the customer. This becomes a very powerful tool to get those invoices more accurate, more often at a time, to produce that famous invoice that we all love and dare to produce. That's the deliverables. So finally, let's look at this last section we call data. We included the business analytics you do within service, but also added financial integrations to this section, inventory, POs, payroll, as sources and destinations for service data. Like most service organizations, this data lives outside the service wheelhouse and can be a challenge to integrate with. So let's look at the business analytics. So again, to overemphasize, if you haven't looked at this, probably a great thing. So to look at the new business analytics tool, our new way of making grids or the old listings be much more powerful with the incorporation of graphics and, you know, multi-level aggregation. And as you can see, now that Fieldpoint is completely designed in what the industry calls a responsive design, you can support different devices online. So, and as you know, we've incorporated the BI and infrastructure right across, you know, work order performance, contract performance, project performance, and then from the invoicing perspective, taking those actuals and aggregating. So now we can take a customer and see exactly where the revenue is coming from the different sides of our business, as well as the cost. Great trending tool. Financial integrations is really the next section. So those of you that are using Microsoft GP integration, as you know, that's still there. Becoming a mature integration and very reliable. But with the advent of our new API tool, Fieldpoint Data Transfer Service, we've now had the ability to escalate our integration capability. So now we can integrate out of the box to NetSuite. So those of you that would like to investigate other ERP systems, NetSuite is now another sample that we can do. And for those, we are still supporting QuickBooks and some others. And then finally, if you talk about integration in general, you know, there's more and more demand to share and integrate data to systems that are outside your organization. And that means you need a field service system that can talk to others in a standard and simple way. Again, with FPDTS, Fieldpoint Data Transfer Service allows us to accelerate our capability and integrate to these outside systems. We're seeing customers in certain sectors like the retail business that, again, as we mentioned earlier, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, they have their own call systems, and they want to use those call systems to pass that service request to their service providers, like yourselves. And you can see some of the products that we've had an opportunity to use Fieldpoint Data Transfer Services to speak to. And on the right-hand side, we're also getting, for those of you that have close relationships with your subcontractors, and you would like to integrate your calls to your subcontractor so they can create their own internal calls, that is available too, to be done. We've got a lot of transfer services to accommodate that. And in fact, we've actually done some integration to a marketplace. So if you don't have a specific agreement with a subcontractor, for those of you that are familiar with Work Market, it gives you the ability to pass your calls to Work Market, let them search out the applicable resource and give you back their cost, and again, back to the vendor scenario. Avalara, for those that aren't familiar, that are interested in Avalara, Avatax, we also have a standard integration there to apply taxes in certain district jurisdictions to make it easier. And then, of course, last, the big popular one is IoT, and we feel with Fieldpoint Data Transfer Service, we can talk to machines as well. If we don't need to talk to people, we can also talk to machines, for those that understand where we're going in life sometimes. So that can be used as well. So those of you that have any opportunities for us to talk to any OEM alert systems, we can apply Fieldpoint Data Transfer Services to help us with that. And that's kind of the end of the presentation here. With challenges, now we do have solutions, and this 4-quadrant area of separating things, managing interactions with people, your complex documents, giving you tools to deploy your own people, subcontractors, PM schedules, and ultimately pass that data to the appropriate financial system when necessary, as well as take information from other systems to create information or calls into yours or other integrations is now quite possible. So if you haven't been exposed to some of these areas that I've shown you today, be sure to contact us for more information. Thank you.
So we'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, and we appreciate your time. If you do have any questions about any of the features you've seen today, or have any questions at all about Fieldpoint, please don't hesitate to give us a call and contact us. I would thank everyone again, and take care and have a great day.